welcome back everyone. Today we're doing brisket. Feels like I haven't done a brisket in forever, but we picked up this nice little brisket flat from my local Drake's. Nice bit of marbling in there. Looks really good. I've got the Akorn Kamado coming up to temperature. We're using the big one today. So we'll get stuck into this. Doesn't really look like it needs too much trimming, but we'll just give it a once over. A little bit of silver skin on the bottom to get rid of. And the fat on the top doesn't look too bad, so try and not get blood everywhere. Whoa. Put myself in the face on that one. So we're just looking for any excess fat. We want to leave a couple of mil on there. A little bit of excess over here. It's not too bad there. I was hoping to do a big one, but we've only got a couple of people coming over tonight, so no point getting a big one, especially when I come across this nice little flat. Probably take a little bit off there. Still got a bit of the cap. Left on there. Just want to get rid of any silver skin off the bottom, or that might go a bit chewy. I'm thinking this will take about 5, maybe 6 hours. It's only a 2 kilo brisket. I might even just take that bit off there. Any sort of thin ends probably just going to cook too quickly and potentially burn. It looks pretty good. We do have a bit of fat there, but that'll do. So today, literally just got a salt, pepper, garlic mix. So go ahead, just give it a nice even coverage. Probably done with a bigger shaker, but it's alright, we'll get through. Flip it over. I'm going to use some cherry and blackwood from Natural Smoke today. I haven't used blackwood before, but I've been told it's pretty similar to black wattle, which I'm a huge fan of. Make sure we get all the edges. So we'll cook it, I'm thinking fat side up, red heaps about fat side up, fat side down, each to their own. We'll do this one fat side up. So that's ready. Akorn's probably just about ready, so we'll chuck this on. I'll put a drip tray with some water underneath it as well, just to keep the bottom side from burning, because the Kamados obviously have the fuel down the bottom and it burns upwards. So yeah, we'll get it on, chuck a beat probe in and come back a bit later on. Right, so we've got the Inkbird set up. We've set the preset to 150 internal temperature just because we might be wrapping at about that stage if I'm happy with the bark. So as you can see, the gauge temperature and the probe temperature are off a little bit, which is pretty normal because they're in two different positions. It's off by about 50 degrees. We've got the meat probe there, and then that's the temperature that you see down the bottom right there. So we'll close the lid so we don't lose too much heat. But as you've seen, obviously the way we've arranged our olive pips is lit ones in the middle and then unlit ones around the outside, so it'll just burn outwards and last our 6+ hours. And then we've just placed our smoking wood in a few different positions so it burns away nicely and evenly throughout the cook. So we'll come back once we hit that internal of 150. So guys, I thought I'd just show you how we have our vents set. So we're at 1 on the top. We've got the bottom one open about 1 inch. So when we first fire it up, I like to open up my vents, and then when we hit about 150 Fahrenheit, I like to close them down just so it stabilizes slowly. Bud coming to join us. So we're at about 255 on the gauge and 285 on the grill, which is normal. Like I said, they're in two different positions. So yeah, that basically sums up how we stabilise our temperature, and that should sit at 250 for the whole cook and shouldn't really move. So yeah, like I said, we'll come back when it hits about 150 internal and we'll have a look at the bark and maybe even wrap it if it's looking good. Right, so the Inkbird's telling me we've reached 150. It's been about 2 hours, so we'll have a quick look. Fair bit of moisture on there and the bark hasn't quite set. So maybe we'll come back in another hour or so. So I'll set my internal to about 160 and we'll come back either when it hits 160 or in another hour and we might wrap then. Alright, so I've just cleared the alarm that went off at 165. Good to see that our grill temp and our probe temp are matching up a bit better. So it's looking better. Still a bit of moisture on there, so I'm happy to wait a little bit longer. So I'll come back in maybe an hour and I'll set my alarm for 180 internal. I'm expecting it to hit a stall soon anyway, so we'll come back once that's looking a little bit better. So guys, sometimes the thing about barbecue is things don't always go to plan. So I just had a look at the underside of the brisket and it hasn't really crusted up as I'd like. So I've just made a decision, and as you can see, I've emptied out the water in the drip tray. So I think there was just a little bit too much moisture in the barbecue. So we will just let that go for a little while. Hopefully some of that moisture will be absorbed and the bottom will crust up a bit, and then we should be all right to wrap it. So we'll come back. Right, we're about 4 hours in. Get a bit of a stall at about 180-ish. We'll have a look. And we'll probably end up wrapping. This bark's looking heaps better. So I think we'll get it out and give it a wrap. Alright, so we've got some nice thick foil. If you've got some thin foil, then you might want to double it up. So yeah, we'll basically wrap it up. Because it is relatively lean, it did have a bit of marbling in it. I always like to wrap the sort of cheaper non-Wagyu ones with a bit of butter. Sort of started to stick there. And then we will fold the sides up. So I've got a bit of beef stock. So that's a cup worth, but I'm only going to put a splash in there either side. I've still got plenty left. And then we'll wrap it up nice and tight. We'll put the probe back in and I'll set my alarm to go off at about 195 internal, and then we'll start probing for tenderness. And then once we reach that mark, I'll basically probe for tenderness, like I said. Once it's probing like butter, we'll wrap it up in a towel and put it in an esky until it's time to slice and serve. So I'll wrap this up nice and tight, get it back in, and we'll come back a bit later. All right, I've just cleared the alarm that went off at 200 degrees internal. Just going to start probing for tenderness with our instant read. Still a little bit of resistance there, so yeah, definitely there in the thickest part. So we'll wrap it back up and we'll check when it gets to about 210. I've had briskets go as high as 215 before they start probing nice. So yeah, we'll come back, and that's just the fun part about cooking brisket, is you never know, and you just got to be ready to make some changes if you need to. So we'll be back. Right, we've hit 209. Took about an hour to get there since we checked at that 195, 200 stage. So now we're just going to probe for tenderness. And that might be our magic number, we'll see. That's feeling much better. Still a tiny bit of resistance that side, but I'm pretty happy with that. And it's feeling beautiful over here, so I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up in that towel and rest it in the esky. And please, for the love of God, use an old towel. I don't want you to get in trouble from getting one of the good towels from the wife or partner or whoever. So yeah, we'll give it a wrap and let it rest until the guests arrive. All right, something pretty embarrassing just happened. I thought I was filming the slice, but it turns out I just took a photo. So you're not going to see the brisket getting sliced. Still got my dirty glove on because I've just gone to watch it back after recording it and realised what I've done. There's the esky it was just resting in, but I'll still show you the end product anyway. So I sliced it all up and put it in some foil trays. So it's come up pretty good. Pretty happy with it. It's cooked nicely. It's nice and moist. You can see the fat in there. Then I've cut a bit up as well into some burnt ends. Typically the flat doesn't make great burnt ends, but anyways, that's what the guests have requested. So there's just a bit of butter, barbecue sauce and brown sugar in there. We'll let that break down the meat a little bit further. But yeah, sorry about missing out on the slice. It was pretty good, but at least you got to see it in the Kamado there. So that's pretty much the end of the video. I'm just waiting for the guests to arrive, who should be here any minute. And yeah, as usual, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.